I am yet to decide if the red wine microphone is a little bit over the top, but it's probably too late to change it now. If you found your way to this video, then you are either a writer, a reader, a lover of all things creative, or lost? Either way, all are welcome here. This channel is dedicated to sharing opinions, experiences, and advice on my current reads, writes, and ideas. And this video is an introduction on who I am, so you can decide if you want to stick around and listen to me talk about those things. And if not, this is going to be a pretty awkward goodbye. I have compiled a pretty academically challenging list of things to get to know me by: reads, writes, and life. So it's a tough one today. What I wanted to do first is introduce you to some of my favourite books so you can get a bit of a taste of what I like to read. For this one, I am going to have to say goodbye to the red wine glass just so I can hold them up. I hope you can still hear me. I'm not very technological. Anyway, I feel like I should go in order of when I read them. So I'm going to start with the first. I'm going to class it as one, but it is a duology. This is the first thing I read that truly got me into reading. This is like the first book that I actually chose to read. And I read the first one and immediately ordered the second one, and I read it in about, I think, one afternoon. And that is Cries, War, and Ironheart. These are enemies to lovers. It's in a fantasy world. Autome, which are kind of like robots, and then they have human servants, and it's about this kind of princess robot. Like, the way I describe it is terrible, but it's about this princess robot who kind of discovers the truth of her kingdom while also falling in love with a human servant. I ate these up. I actually was in a charity shop the other day and I found another copy of this, and even though I've read it, I bought it because I wouldn't know. Now, this next one is a classic. Technically, I did have to read this for school, but I definitely would have read it anyway, so I'm still going to count it. And that is The Picture of Dorian Gray. As you can see, I have some notes in it, and that's because, like I said, I had to read this for a school assignment. Not like with the whole class. I did choose this. I just loved this so much. I thought this was so good, and it's quite a short read in comparison to, you know, these beasts, but it's just amazing. And if you haven't read this, get to know. This next one, I'm going to be honest, the reason I chose to initially read it, I knew nothing about it. I chose to read it because the main character's name is very similar to mine, and that's why I picked it up. But I fell in love with it and I cried, I laughed, I loved it so much. And that is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This, I didn't know anything about it when I picked it up. Again, I literally just picked it up because Evelyn Hugo, Ellie Hugo, come on. And I just fell in love with it. It's different from what I usually read because I don't particularly like books that are contemporary or kind of real, if that makes sense. Like, I like to read fantastical, whimsical things like that. I don't like to read things that are in the same world that I'm in. But I guess this is kind of different because it goes back to like the 80s, I think. But this is like one of the only, I guess, like contemporary kind of normal, non-fantasy, non-sci-fi pieces that I really love. These next two, again, it's a duology. I finished these not that long ago, and it was very similar to Cries War. Like, I picked it up so quickly and I went through it so quickly because I just loved it. And that is One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. This has such an amazing level of like gothic whimsy. Oh, it was amazing. If you haven't read these, like, I feel like I've said that about all these books now, but these are the reasons they're my most beloved, because you need to read them. One of my favorite tropes that I don't feel like is utilized enough is a girl with like something inside her head, like a monster inside her head. I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but it's just something about girls or like women characters who have this like entity or insane power, but it's separate from them. It's like in their head, they talk to it, maybe they don't get along very well with it, things like that. So I just absolutely loved this. And another thing I really loved about this series or this duology is the family dynamics between all the other characters. That was a really big thing for me. I think the number one thing that drew me to it and made me fly through it is Elspeth and the monster. And then the second thing was the family, like the whole royal family. I love a found family. I love the bickering, the banter. This had it all. These are amazing. And lastly, I'll get on to my two current reads. And the only reason I'm reading two at the same time is because one's non-fiction and one's fiction. This is what I'm reading at the moment. It's kind of almost finished. I haven't got that long left. A Dark and Drowning Tide. Now, I recently, before this, read A Treachery of Swans, And if you've read A Treachery of Swans and you've read this, you'll understand why I'm reading them back to back. They are such a similar vibe in the best way possible. They are so, again, like whimsical, gothic. I really like that gothic fantasy. Sapphics, of course. If it's women loving women, I'm gonna take that any day of the week. I'm really enjoying this so far. Also, I did get it because of the beautiful sprayed edges. I can't wait to finish it, but I also don't want to finish it because I didn't mind finishing A Treachery of Swans because I knew that this was similar and that I had this in the bank. I don't have anything now, and it means I'm gonna have to read something on my TBR rather than buying something similar. But this is about a folklorist and like a bunch of other people that go on an expedition to find something. One of them is murdered on the way there, so it's a murder mystery. And the only one that the main character folklorist can trust is this other girl, who they're like academic rivals slash enemies. And I just eat it up. I love it. I love it. And lastly, I feel like I recommend this book to any woman ever. I feel like obviously you can read it if you're not a woman, but it's really for women, and that is Women Who Run with the Wolves. Now, as you can see, I'm not super far into it. I'm only about that far into it, but that's because I really read this with intention. I try not to go too fast into it, and if I start reading it and I feel like I'm not retaining anything, I just stop and then I get back to it. But I like to keep notes, and another thing I like to do, because it's non-fiction, I have this little notebook that I've been, again, there's not that much in it for now, but any quote that I kind of really enjoy, I write it in here, I write the page, and I put a little kind of note towards it just to kind of talk about how it makes me feel and things like that. I feel like that's what I'm going to do with nonfiction in general now, because it really helps me actually retain it and have discussions about it with myself. It makes me enjoy it a lot more, and like this book, if you've read it, you'll know what I mean. It's amazing. You're going back on here. So if you can't already tell by the majority of the ones that I showed you, fantasy is my absolute favourite. I need something that's very far away from this current world. My thing is, if a book has social media in it, I'm not reading it. If a book has the internet, I'm not reading it. I don't know what it is. I just, and I'd say it's ironic because I'm in front of the camera saying this and I'm posting this on social media, but I hate social media and I read to escape it, and I read to connect with people who have made stories, and so much effort goes into a book, and I prefer to pick up entertainment and stories that way rather than being on TikTok a lot and things like that. If I was to get more specific, I would say things that I like in these fantasy books is a more kind of gritty, like I said, gothic specific, but like a gritty kind of descriptions. And if you've read One Dark Window and Two Distant Crowns, you know what I'm talking about when I say gritty, because Rachel Gillig actually did an interview that I read, and she said she loves doing the gritty details about like how they bathe and the dirt under their fingernails and things like that. And I know that's not for everyone, but I really like reading about that. It makes it feel so real, and that's what I like to write as well, kind of these really human and vulnerable kind of experiences that I guess you wouldn't get in a book where it's really polished, and these people, they never need to go to the toilet, they never need to eat, they don't need to sleep. I don't want to read about that. I like it to be fantasy, but then like quite grounded. I can pivot on from that into my writing, which at the moment my main project is, if you've seen my TikTok, you will have heard me talk about this so much, but it's a book called The Evergreen, and it's about a reluctant leader who must save her stubborn settlement from a parasitic plague. Now, I've been writing this for about 3 years, I'd say. I didn't expect it to take so long. I definitely wanted to have it finished by now. I thought last year that I would have it published by now. Optimist. But I think now I'm just really enjoying savoring every moment of it because I'm very close to the end. Once I finish it, I don't need to go back and do any more edits or rewrites. I've spent so long doing that now that there's not really anything else I can give to the story. So I kind of need to let it go and either query it, get an agent, and get it traditionally published, or maybe later down the line I might self publish it. I'm not too sure, but I'll be sharing a lot more about that on this channel anyway, if that's something that interests you. As for life, I'm a student. I study creative and professional writing, so if you can't already tell, this is like my passion and my path. I don't care about anything other than reading and writing and publishing and editing. Like, I love it. Right now, I work a part-time retail job, which I won't speak of at the moment because I'm hoping to leave relatively soon. I've worked in retail for about 4 years, and the more I work it, the more it kills me. There's so many aspects I do like about it. I love nice customers, I love helping, I love co-workers and being part of a team, but I feel like it's very easy to get beaten down, but I'm just hoping to branch out into a very different aspect of work soon. It is a decent job, but it's not books, so I hate it. So what do I do to push myself through these boring parts of life? I read, I write, and I just am generally a creative person. I'm a firm believer in the importance of creativity. People should have some kind of creative outlet, no matter how what on the side of creativity it is. You know, it could be very, very creative, like art, writing, making music, things like that, or it could even be something a bit different, like cooking, that people don't think that it's a very creative thing, but it is very creative. It's about having an output to put your emotions, put, you know, your bad days, your good days. It's so important, and that's kind of why I'm making this channel, because it, although it's mainly for me to just have an output for myself and just be able to talk for a very long time, it's also in case there's anyone out there that might not know what their creative output can be and wants a little bit of help, advice, inspiration, things like that. Obviously, it's going to be very heavily about reading and writing because that is my output, but I do a lot more. If I was to show you my walls right now, I don't know how much you can see of it up there, but it is just covered in drawings and things that I've stolen from restaurants, like menus and stickers and old books that I've plastered over there, leaves, like so much stuff. I I just believe in creativity so much, and that's what I want to advocate most on this channel is be creative, be passionate, get your emotions out there. This is going to be a place to share creativity no matter what it is. I have so many topics that I do plan to cover, more about book recommendations or book opinions, advice for writers, advice for readers if you want that. Maybe some controversial opinions about the bookish community as well, because there's been so many times where things have happened on Book Talk, and I've been so eager to talk about it, but I don't really have a place because it doesn't really fit the vibe of my TikTok. So I feel like I'm going to do that here now. I just feel like it's about time that I did something like this because I love to talk. I do look forward to using this as a creative outlet for myself and for also opening up a little bit of space for anyone who's a little bit lost or anyone who knows exactly who they are as a creative and they just want a space to share it. This is going to be advocating and sharing and inspiring and motivating and just talking. It's going to be a lot of talking. I can probably do a Q&A at some point if I need to share a bit more about myself, but I hope this gives you enough of an impression of who I am, what I like to read. I hope that it's enough for you to decide if you want to stick around and subscribe and watch my videos, but if not, then like I said, awkward goodbye, turn away now because I'm not good at goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this little introduction. I certainly have. I'm a little bit out of breath. I feel like I talk way too fast and I'm getting very hot. It is very hot in the UK today. It's very hot in my room. Don't ask me why I'm wearing a long sleeve. I don't know. Okay? So if you enjoyed this video, then comment, like, I don't know. I'm not very technological when it comes to YouTube. I don't know what's good. I don't know what's bad. Just do what you want. Thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for the next post. Bye!